Welcome to Gallant IAS. This is Let's Go 120 Plus in Prelims 2021 series, where we'll discuss some of the important questions from the topics which have a high probability to be asked in your coming Prelims 2021. So here you'll also see some of the questions which will help you to revise your basic concepts as well. Okay, so today we are going to see two questions from environment. So the question reads, emission from which of the following sources cause acid rain? Okay, so the question is with regard to acid rain. So volcanoes, plankton species in oceans, fuel combustion in ships. So you are asked to pick out the correct statements. See, with regard to acid rain, this is a basic concept. This is what you have learned in your static part. So let this be a revision of that particular basic part of environment as well. Okay, so with regard to acid rain, you have to know how acid rain is caused. Okay, so any precipitation which is falling down to earth, which is having a pH of 5.2 or below, it is known as acid rain. Okay, if the pH value is below 5.2, it is acidic in nature. So that precipitation we call it as acid rain. Right. Now, mainly it is the sulfur and the nitrogen particles which is present in the atmosphere. It is getting mixed up with the wet component of the rain and it is falling down to the earth, which is acidic in nature, and that is what is acid rain. Okay, so the main components are the sulfur and nitrogen particles in the atmosphere. So there will be some sources for sulfur and nitrogen particles to get into the atmosphere, right? So these sources can be either natural or man-made. Okay, the sources can be either natural or man-made. Natural in the sense, take the case of volcanoes. Okay, when volcano is erupted, mainly the sulfur and nitrogen compounds are being emitted into the atmosphere, right? So what happens? This, when they are going into the atmosphere, further they are oxidized into sulfur dioxide or nitrogen oxide, and then what happens? They will get mixed up with the water and then they becomes acidic in nature. You know, sulfur dioxide when mixed up with water forms sulfuric acid, or the nitrogen dioxide when mixed up with water it forms HNO3 or nitric acid. So it is acidic in nature, right? So this components, when it gets mixed up with water, it becomes acidic in nature and it falls down to earth as acid rain. So volcano, yes, definitely it is a natural source of acid rain. Then comes planktons, or you know, the decaying vegetation. These are sources where a gas called dimethyl sulfide is being emitted into the atmosphere. Okay, from where it when it enters the atmosphere, sulfur dioxide is formed and then it mixed up with water and falls down to earth as acid. So the plankton species in ocean, at the same time decaying vegetation, these are all natural sources of acid rain, right? So coming to the man-made source. With regard to man-made source, yes, definitely we know sulfur and nitrogen components are being emitted into the atmosphere from vehicular exhaust, okay, from the vehicles that we use, or from power stations, okay, or the fuel combustion that is taking place in ships. Mainly the fossil fuel combustion is amounting to the release of sulfur and nitrogen compounds into atmosphere, right? So yes, under man-made sources, the fuel combustion in ships is also coming. So here your answer would be 1, 2 and 3. All of the above is the answer. All of these are sources for acid rain. Okay. So I hope this was a revision for your this basic static part of acid rain as well. Okay. Now let's move on to the next question. Okay, next question is again from a static topic, like about stable communities. Okay, you are asked to pick out the correct statements here. First statement reads, they produce considerable amount of high output compared to previous times. Second statement, they cannot withstand natural calamities. And third statement, they are known as their community. Okay, so with regard to stable communities, so where do you have seen this stable communities? It is coming under, yes, ecological succession. It is coming under ecological succession. So what is ecological succession? Ecological succession is the gradual replacement of one community by another community until a stable climax community is reached, and that particular stable climax community, it will be in equilibrium with the environment, right? So if you just know this basic concept of ecological succession, you can solve this particular question. Okay, so you know what is ecological succession. So it is a gradual replacement of one community by another, and at last a stable community, which is known as the climax community, will be reached, and that particular climax community will be in equilibrium with the environment. Okay, if you know this particular concept, then we can solve this question. Let's see how. The first statement says they produce considerable amount of high output compared to previous times. See, the question is about stable community. So, which are the stable communities? Definitely it is the climax community. Okay, it is the climax community. It is a climax community which is stable, which is in equilibrium with the environment. Which means, what does the stable or which is in equilibrium with the environment specify? It means that there will not be much variations in the output of that particular community. When we compare it with previous times, there will not be much variation in it, in its output. Okay, which means it is stable. It is in equilibrium with the environment. That is what stability means, right? But the first statement here says they produce considerable amount of high output compared to previous times. Is it a characteristic of stable community? No, it is not a characteristic of stable community. Why? Because stable community, the word stable itself says they are in equilibrium or they are stable, but which means it is not having that high variations. Okay, but the first statement is contradictory here. So first statement will be wrong. So if you can connect things accordingly, or if you can connect the basic things, or from the term itself, if you can connect, you can eliminate such statements. Okay, so here first statement is wrong. So if first statement is wrong, you can eliminate option A, option B, which means half part of your job is done here. Now the remaining is option C and D. So you are left out with C and D. Either C or D will be your answer, and if you can figure out either 2 or 3 is right or wrong, then definitely your job is done here. Okay. Now the second statement says they cannot withstand natural calamities. See, stable communities, again from the word stable, which means they are in a position to withstand or to tolerate the extremities of environmental conditions. Okay, so that's why they are known as stable. Okay, they are able to withstand the extremities, or they are able to tolerate the extremities. So yes, definitely stable communities can withstand natural calamities, which means the second statement is also wrong here. They cannot withstand natural calamities. It is a wrong statement with regard to stable communities, right? Now so if second statement is wrong, definitely you can move on to the option D as your answer. Why? Because third statement automatically turns out to be wrong, even if you are not aware about the third statement. Anyway, let's look the third statement. It says they are known as Sir community. They are known as Sir community. See, this particular term of Sir, we have seen it in our ecological succession part. We know in ecological succession, one community is being gradually replaced by another community, and this individual steps which is involved in the ecological succession, right from there will be a pioneer community, the first community to inhabit that particular region. There will be a climax community, the last community as such we can say, which is stable, which is in equilibrium with the environment, and in between them there is like successive stages are there, okay, or one stage is being replaced by another community, so such successive stages are there. That stages are what we call Zir. Definitely Zir community will be what? Yes, those communities which inhabit these successive stages. So they are not stable, right? Since they are not stable, they are being replaced continuously or successively. So the third statement says they are known as Zir community. So will it be right? No. Zir community, they are not stable. They are the intermediate communities. Right. So the third statement is also wrong here. So this is how the basic knowledge or even the logical thinking from that basic term of stable communities will help you to figure out the answer of this particular question. Okay, so in this method you can actually apply this strategies or this logical thinking from the basic terminologies which is given in the question. You can apply this even in your final prelims day, right? So that's it. If you like this video, share it with your friends and also subscribe to our channel. That's it. Thank you.